dive into authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation. Good morning, good morning, good morning, tea sippers. Good morning, everybody. How is everybody on this Wednesday morning? Good morning, all my sippers. How are you all? I hope this video finds you all safe, sound, and blessed, okay? In the name, as we say. From our lips to God's ears, good morning, tea sippers. It is a morning that we need to follow up on the rapper Cashout, right? In Atlanta. Him and his mom were sentenced, I think yesterday, in a federal court, I believe in Atlanta, on a Rico charge, y'all. We covered some of it a couple weeks ago, where we were, catching up on the things. He was arrested like last year or something like that for some very serious charges of Rico, trafficking, pretty much a lot of the same stuff that Diddy was indicted on, but not, found not guilty on most of the stuff. However, different outcome for the Atlanta rapper. Okay, so hi, all of my YouTube sippers. How's everybody over there? We are growing, and it's showing. Thank you, all of my followers on Facebook. Hi, sippers on Facebook. Y'all been showing love, showing up, showing out with all of the engagements over on Facebook. Greatly appreciate it. We are live. We are talking teas on Twitch, y'all. Talking teas on Twitch. How's all my sippers on Twitch? Good morning. Get in here. Get your sip on with me this morning. Good morning, Kick. We're kicking it on Kick. Hi, Unkemptastorosophy. Okay, I really think I butchered your name, but hello. Hi, how are you? Good morning. Thanks for joining the live to sip some tea with Tanisha Talks Teas this morning. We are following up on the Atlanta rapper Cashout from Atlanta, riding around with that Nina was one of his hit songs that everybody knew. He got caught up on a Rico, y'all, down in Atlanta, a very serious one that him and his mother were very recently sentenced to. So let's jump on in. Let's share our stream and watch some live footage from the courthouse. Let's pause it, actually. Let's pause it, okay? So let's just catch ourselves up on what he was charged with, okay? So, recently, as July 21st, he was sentenced, okay? It was a year-long trafficking enterprise that exploited women through his Pyres Music Group, LLC. He was indicted on 8 charges, actual trafficking charges, and RICO violations, okay? And his mother, Linda Smith, and cousin, Tyrone Taylor, were also in connection with the case. The judge described the behavior as the very, very worst of human behavior, and the severity of the crimes committed by Gibson and his associates. And his associates in this case were his mother, Linda Smith, and cousin Tyrone Taylor. Okay. So now let's get back to the actual trial.
My kids back, which was a big effect on my life, because at the time that's all I wanted was to have my kids in my life. So I thought I would be able to go back home, have things for my kids, and be able to get my kids back in my life, but that was empty promises. I have gone through so much since all this happened. I have gone through many doctor's visits. I've done a lot of therapy to try to overcome this situation that affects me to this day. I have PTSD, I have depression, anxiety. It's hard to sleep at night without having flashbacks and night terrors of everything that's happened. I don't even get to have a normal relationship because I'm in fear of what the next person might do. It's hard for me to trust anyone in my life. I've had to overcome a lot of things in my life, which has made me the person that I am today. And I hope that John Gibson, his mom, and cousin get what they have coming to them through this trial. You have affected many girls and their families through this whole situation with sex trafficking and abusing all of us girls. Not once did you ever think about our feelings and what we wanted and how we trusted you to get to where we needed to be or what we wanted to be in life. It's sad that you couldn't see our pain and our hurt and what we have had to endure since all this happened. I hope you get what you have coming to you, and you don't have to get out of prison for a very long time. Even if you do get out, you can sit in prison and think about all the things that you have done wrong to us girls. Okay, we have Mr. and Mrs. Wiwatowski on Zoom, and they'd like to make their own statement. Do you want that?
I'm on. Can you hear me?
Hold on 1 second. Is this one statement, a joint statement?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Ms. Wiwatowski, let me
Honorable Judge. Yes.
Let me see your face, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was on. I don't know how to turn it back on. Here it is. I'm more not so privy with Zoom. I use.
Thank you.
I'll stay on. I have no problem keeping my camera on.
All right, go right ahead.
Honorable Judge, our daughter became involved with the defendant in the summer of 2015.
So here we see his mother, Linda Smith, sitting here. Remember, if you guys have not done so, go back and watch my commentary over just, being woken up about Cashout's, current situation of what brings us here today, of him and his family being indicted and now sentenced for this Rico stuff. She was just as non-caring as any person could be facing these types of situations, right? She was eating her whatever it was, looks like little seeds of some sort. I don't know, like corn nuts or something she was eating from the table. And she was just eating them, and she looked like she didn't have a care in the world about exactly what level of severity she was under, and facing going to prison for a very long time. She's already a older woman in her 50s, and so whatever sentence she get will be some time. And yeah, so I mean, she just appeared to be so unfazed by her current situation. She's, being charged and was indicted on with her son and her nephew. Okay. As you see her here today, her demeanor has changed. She's in, the county blues. She doesn't appear to be smiling and or uncaring of her situation. Okay, she looks more so sunken, awaiting her fate as well with her son and her nephew.
She had just only turned 21 in the March of the same year. Because she was so young, we were still paying for her car insurance, her cell phone. This is how we located our only child, who was taken from North Carolina to Georgia with a promise to be his girlfriend, and even told he was meeting his mother. Please understand the relevance to that statement, because I have been married since September of 1989. And all these warm and fuzzy triggers played into the scam of his wealth and the role that he would play in these women's lives, using his one-hit wonder status to steal their person. He and his mom literally stole the soul.
He said his one-hit wonder. Not he was a one-hit wonder, y'all, and I believe he really was. He probably had some like underground stuff that was making motion or whatever through Atlanta, and down south. But we only known him for really that one song, "Riding Around with My Nina." Okay, she dropped him with that one, with his one-hit wonder splendors of this wonderful life that he could give my daughter. Made her believe such and such, and it wasn't none of nothing. Okay,
of all the women that they victimized.
I don't know why my Wi-Fi's been acting up, y'all. It's been acting a fool, acting a fool, acting a fool, acting a fool. Let me turn on my Wi-Fi pod.
Disorder because of the violence and deceit that he and his mom delivered.
Him and his mammy.
These individuals withheld food while they were selling these young ladies on the internet to these Johns. And they would keep every dollar too. That's how they made their money. They didn't make it by music. They simply used the music platform to lure these women in. Please consider that my daughter was an honor student who graduated high school in 2012 with almost an associate's degree in biology. And she was attending college for dental in 2015 when he made his broken promises and forced her into prostitution. We filed a missing person report. We contacted the Atlanta police. When no one listened, I called him, and guess what? I told him, like the movie Taken, I was coming and getting my own. Now, for the defense, who states, well, why didn't you just leave? Because these clowns were everywhere and literally at the side of my car.
Ms. Wiewatowski, I want you to focus your statement as an impact statement, and I want you to direct your comments to me, okay?
Okay. Well, she made a point to get us as close as possible. My point is, within minutes of we getting our daughter, that Mama Cash and another woman were in the side of our car, and we barely escaped. To say that children...
Ooh, she said that his mama also played a major part in trying to retrieve their child back from their care when they found out where she was and what was really going on with her with the Atlanta rapper Cashout, and try to prevent them from taking their child. She said we barely made it out alive from her trying to intrusively prevent us from getting our child out of a human trafficking situation. Wicked business, Miss Cash, wicked business.
Walk off. They couldn't. These people were everywhere. Please give all the victims their day by throwing the book at these folks. Remember the parents that traveled and drove from their home to his door to do a well check for their daughter. Remember how we put ourselves in danger to save our daughter. And finally, remember and resonate with the fact that even though we restored her body, we have been unsuccessful in saving and healing the person because of the trauma that these animals delivered. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm done.
All right.
The next statement is from Diamond Irvin.
Okay.
My past dealing with Cashout and Tyrone Taylor has impacted my life in a major way. Because of these people, I know they are. Because of the people I know they are. I'm in consistent fear of my life and for the well-being of my family. I know what they are capable of, and I know how far they can extend. So for the rest of my life, I will fear that they will kill me. I will never forget the times that he threatened to kill me with a gun, even firing gunshots indoor wherever we were. All because he was mad that I didn't want to go out and do what he wanted me to do. They know where members of my family live, and I will rest easier knowing that these two individuals are locked up for their crimes. I suffer severe depression from my past experience with these two individuals, as well as persistent anxiety. I have been in and out of the emergency room for at least 6 times to receive treatment for symptoms such as high blood pressure and rapid heart rate because of the trauma that Cashout and Tyrone Taylor put me through. I have been prescribed several medications to help me deal with these symptoms. As a result of their manipulation of me, I have found it hard to gain and keep employment, and I have had to relocate out of the state of Georgia just to get away from them. I hope the court takes my experience into strong consideration when sentencing Cashout and Tyrone Taylor, so that me and my family and others would seek to do harm to be safer and protected. The next statement is from Janae Wright. I have gone back and forth writing this just to soothe my soul and allowing my spirit to rest it deserves by being satisfied with vindication felt from facing one of my demons responsible for the most traumatic experience I've ever lived through by testifying. God I serve knows me, and that same God prompted me to release this burden from my heart and speak one last time. So here it goes. In 2015, I was robbed and raped at gunpoint by 2 men while in a hotel with my best friend. In 2015, I was 20 years old, young, free, open-hearted, optimistic, and had an insatiable lust for life. However, after the event...
Now look at Mama Cash. Where was that empathy and care for her son's victims when it was going on? Because apparently she was, Bonnie to his colliding all around in this situation. She was front row and center for all of it, orchestrating a lot of it, fueling a lot of it. But now look at her sunken place. Now the victims, thankfully, get the victory that they deserve in the form of justice for their pain that they endured, while the moments that they had with Cashout, his mother and family, could have potentially killed him. Thankfully did not. Look at his mother now.
In 2015, I became anxiety and depression stricken, filled with paranoia and severely distrustful.
Because believe me, this will be her fate for the next however long she gets in prison. This will be her fate, right? Her fate is now looking like the women that her and her son and her nephew victimized in this Rico case. This is more than likely what she will endure in a federal prison.
Everything and everyone that was cowardly, and inwardly I felt alone, afraid, disgusting, unloved, and unlovable, because I was tainted by an experience that altered my personality so much that I couldn't even recognize myself. Repulsed by the thought that I would be forced to explain to anyone who attempted to bond with me, and fearful of being too much to deal with, because why would anyone love a victim of such a heinous and fearful of a heinous thing, or fearful of being questioned because my story didn't make sense, and I would not be seen as a victim I really was. Pushing away anyone close to me before they could leave me first, but worst of all, I felt like I didn't deserve to live anymore. As I sit in my tears, remembering how this one event spiraled into the darkest moments of my entire existence, I remember the gut-wrenching feeling of having to explain to my friends and family that cared about me what happened, and the feeling of being judged, just as I did the day that the police were called and ignored me as I wanted to die. I tried to die. And had it not been for me hearing my grandmother's voice while I drifted into what I thought would be a peaceful death, after swallowing what I thought was enough Tylenol PM to end my life, I never would have had the strength to turn on my stomach and make myself vomit until it hurt. But at that time, I was miserable, desperate, alone, and afraid of the entire world, and even myself. It's been 10 years of hell, healing, and hope that one day I would be able to tell my story, and it will finally bring justice. So when I was contacted in 2022, I knew I had to tell it. For my then 4-year-old, now 8-year-old daughter, that I vowed to protect with my entire being. For Frederica, the most loyal friend I've ever had. For the women and victims I learned about along the way, but most importantly, for myself. Dear John Michael Hakeem Gibson, you don't deserve prison. Prison would be too good of a place for you. But since the death penalty is not an option, I pray that you never know peace, and that your soul will never return to this realm after it leaves. You are a disgrace and an abomination, and true definition of a monster. I hope that the judge finds it in her heart to make sure that you will never know freedom as long as you live.
Good morning. I will be reading the statement on behalf of Talicia Dewberry. It states, good morning. Reliving the events surrounding this trafficking case has affected me both mentally and physically. Since the investigation and my testimony, I've struggled with severe nightmares and flashbacks that disturb my sleep and concentration. The memories of what I witnessed and endured continue to resurface unexpectedly, leaving me feeling anxious and emotionally overwhelmed. This trauma has begun to affect my relationship with my loved ones. Where I was once present and engaged, now I feel myself withdrawing, easily agitated, and unable to fully connect. My performance at work has also been compromised. Tasks that once felt routine now don't feel the same, as my ability to focus deteriorates under emotional distress. I share this not as a complaint, but to give a voice to the invisible weight that many survivors carry. I'm committed to healing, and I'm grateful for the resources available, but I hope this statement provides a deeper insight into the toll this case continues to take on my life. Thank you for listening and for advocating on behalf of those who are still navigating the aftermath. Sincerely, Talicia Dewberry. And I have a statement on behalf of Jasmine Brown, which states, I wish him nothing but hell. And now I'll be reading the statement on behalf of Kiera Adams.
And Your Honor, we state for the record, we spoke with Kiera Adams' attorney, Jacoby Hudson. He's given us permission to read the statement.
Right, thank you.
I'm writing this to respectfully provide insight into the profound impact that being coerced into sex had on my life and my family. I want you to know the severe emotional, psychological, physical, and social consequences that I have endured. Many days I want to give up, but I keep fighting. No one truly understands the pain that I have experienced and continue to struggle with in my life. I've been wearing an ankle monitor for over 2 years, which means I'm unable to take a simple bath, find clothes to cover it so people don't freak out nor judge me. Daily stress of making sure it's charged, adding weight to my leg, and has severely scarred my ankle. Being forced into sex work was not a choice, but a situation driven by bad consequences or just getting involved with the wrong guy. This experience has left me deep scars in every aspect of my life. The constant fear for my safety and that of my family is overwhelming. As faced with explicit threats of harm if I attempted to leave, the threats created a sense of terror that continues to haunt me and my family daily, making it difficult to feel secure even now. The psychological toll has been devastating, and I have struggled with severe depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, numbness, emptiness, and feeling like I am constantly being judged or punished. These mental health challenges sometimes cause me to break down, which left me unable to function normally or maintain stability in my life. The stigma attached to my past has compounded these struggles as I face relentless judgment from others in my community, workplaces, family, and friends. This judgment has made it incredibly hard in my life to secure stable, well-paying employment, as employers often dismiss me upon learning my history regardless of my qualifications or effort. My family has also been profoundly affected. The shame and stigma associated with my coerced involvement into sex work has strained our relationships, caused them significant emotional distress. I am no longer close with many of my family members, and they no longer talk to me or want to be around me. They too live in fear of retaliation from those who once controlled me and threaten to cause harm to me and my family, such as shoot up my mom's house. Each day I'm faced with the task of trying to escape the cycle of fear, judgment, and economic hardships, which is very exhausting and challenging. I respectfully ask that you consider the immense challenges I have faced as a result of being coerced into sex work. Challenges that include ongoing mental health struggles, social ostracism, economic instability, and thoughts of living under consistent threats. These circumstances have shaped my life in ways I never could have anticipated, and I'm working relentlessly to rebuild and move forward. I now have stable employment and previously enrolled in an online college for animation. I humbly request your compassion and understanding into your consideration of my case. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter and for considering my circumstances. I am grateful for the opportunity to share my story. Respectfully, Kiara Adams. And Judge, we have one more statement by Jordan Adams. She would like to read it for herself.
Sure. All right, Ms. Adams, if you'll come right up here, please direct all your comments to me, okay? All right.
I wound up in the company of these strangers during a dark time in my life,
Swing the mic over to her, please. Thank you.
where they violated me, assaulted me, and attempted to market and sell me for the purposes of prostitution. Can you believe that after hours of rape and assault, I consider myself lucky? Because had they been successful, had my family not tracked me down, had Officer Yamians and his degree of skill and experience witnessing victims of human trafficking not recognized my distress and rescued me, I would have been further victimized on a regular basis for God knows how long. In my vulnerable state, I simply wasn't strong enough to save myself or even found value in saving myself. These defendants not only saw this, this and preyed on this. They further violated, assaulted, and victimized me and attempted to profit off of this vulnerability as if my body was a wholesale product they sought to make revenue from. I need you to know how much these events not only affected me in my life, but even the lives of those I love. These crimes go much further beyond just us women in this case, but the loved ones in our life as well. The past 6.5 years, I've had nightmares on average 1 to 2 times a week. My own daughter has woken me up from these nightmares, my girlfriend, family members. I've been told I sound petrified, probably because I am. In these nightmares, it's always the same. I'm held down, I cannot move, and their voices are laughing at me, telling me they're going to do whatever they want to me. I can't breathe, and I gasp, and I wake up crying. Like my mother and brother mentioned when they picked me up, I was utterly broken with a 1,000-yard stare. That didn't go away for about nearly 2 years after this event. I was catatonic. I couldn't be near or close to men. It was difficult to hold down a job. The flashbacks would often come crashing into my brain, solicited or not, to the point I'd have panic attacks and even cover my ears in an attempt to quiet their haunting voices in my head. The day these defendants chose to commit these crimes against me, they gave me a life sentence, and there was no mercy or consideration. And while I worked my butt off to successfully complete probation, win custody of my daughter, and work at nearly every major gun store and firing range in the state of Georgia to become a qualified firearm instructor in the areas of self-defense, I can tell you today that none of it has fully healed me from this violence and trauma. I don't know if there will ever be enough time. On an everyday basis, I wear 4 to 5 blades, a stun gun, pepper spray, a full-size weapon, and 80 rounds of law enforcement grade HST. And my clients often ask me, is that necessary? And Your Honor, I say absolutely. Because I know what it feels like to nearly lose your life. And as a woman, lose a piece of your soul and that you can never get back.
I'm working. I don't know why my internet now. Man, shut up. I am live streaming. Keep on.
To witness and encounter evil where there's no hesitation to harm you. I've seen it and survived it. I know today that I'm equipped and qualified to defend my life for others and to share this knowledge with others. Not only do I owe it to help others and their healing and to serve my community, I owe it to the girl that I used to be. The girl that couldn't save herself. But perhaps this step right here will offer me the healing I and these women in the community need from the offenses the court has recognized these people committed. Regarding sentencing, I'd like to reiterate that my nightmares and flashbacks in my sentence is only one of many. There are many other women who went unnamed during this trial. John Michael Gibson and his mother affected so many women, Your Honor. For God's sake, he picked his own mother out. It's no less impact on the community, what their sentence should be. I know that's your decision, but this is
financial statement every 6 to 12 months, including tax returns to his probation officer.
We are having technical difficulties. Y'all have to refresh our news source.
That's a global of 40 years to serve. As it relates to Tyrone Taylor, he is an A recidivist, and the sentence we would ask is as follows. Count 1, Rico, 20 years to serve. Count 9, rape, life. Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude, 20 years to serve. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 20 years to serve. Count 16, false imprisonment. $10 years to serve. Count 7. Count 11, aggravated sodomy, life
in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual service.
I don't know why I'm having so many Wi-Fi breakdowns. I'm not quite sure.
A person convicted of the offense of aggravated sodomy shall be punished by imprisonment for life
Thank you
or
guys so
by
much for
split
hanging in
sentence.
here as I get my Wi-Fi together.
That is a term of imprisonment for not less than 25 years and not exceeding life imprisonment, followed by probation for life. Under 16-14-5, the Rico count, a person convicted of engaging in a Rico violation shall be guilty of a felony and shall be punished by not less than 10 or more than 20 years in prison, or the fine specified in subsection B of this code section, or both. Under 16-5-46, trafficking of a person for sexual servitude, any person who commits the offense of trafficking an individual for labor, servitude, or sexual servitude shall be guilty of a felony, and upon conviction thereof shall be punished by imprisonment for not less than 10 nor more than 20 years and a fine not to exceed $100,000. Your Honor, when we are handling sentencing hearings, Code Section 17-10-2 governs that process. In the hearing, the judge shall hear additional evidence in extenuation, mitigation, and aggravation of punishment, including the record.
So what we're doing now, sippers, is listening to the defendant lawyers, what they would like to hope to get for Cashout, his mammy and his cousin, in hopes of maybe getting, they are seeing, that he has been convicted of these things. And now, they are trying to get like the least minimum mandatory that one could get on RICO charges. Just like what we saw with Diddy's case recently, the minimum mandatories for like the transportation of a 304 would be 10 years minimum, maximum, I think life, maybe. Or however have you. So this is his, defense team trying to save some type of ass of the three of these defendants that have been now convicted of these charges. Okay. I don't know why this is acting like that, but it's acting up. It's acting up. I might go disconnect my Wi-Fi.
Of any prior criminal convictions and pleas of guilty or nolo contendere, or of the accused, or the absence of any prior conviction and pleas. Punishment for serious violent offenders. Based on the verdict, rape and aggravated sodomy fall within this category. The sentence of any person convicted of the serious violent felony of rape or aggravated sodomy shall, unless sentenced to life imprisonment, be a split sentence, which shall include a mandatory minimum term of imprisonment of 25 years, followed by probation for life, and no portion of the mandatory minimum sentence imposed shall be suspended, stayed, probated, deferred, or withheld by the sentencing court. Your Honor, under 17-10-10, concurrent sentences, where at one term of court, a person is convicted on more than one indictment or accusation, or on more than one count thereof, and sentenced to imprisonment, the sentences shall be served concurrently unless otherwise expressly provided therein. Under 17-10-11, granting of credit generally. Upon conviction for an offense, a person shall be given full credit for each day spent in confinement in any penal institution or facility, and in any institution or facility for treatment or examination for disability, including pretrial confinement, for any reason since the date of arrest for the offense which is the subject of the sentence. This code section shall apply to sentences for all crimes, whether classified as violations, misdemeanors, or felonies, and to all courts having criminal jurisdiction located within the boundaries of the state. Your Honor, under 17-10-12, the custodian of the defendant shall be required to make an affidavit specifying the number of days which the defendant has spent in confinement in his custody, and furnish the affidavit to the clerk of the court within 5 days after sentence is imposed if the defendant is convicted. The affidavit of the custodian of the defendant shall be made a part of the official record of the trial, and that particular affidavit will be submitted to the Department of Corrections when the defendant has been sentenced to the of the department. The Department of Corrections shall give the defendant credit for the number of days spent in confinement prior to conviction and sentence, as reflected in the custodian's affidavit before forwarding the record to the State Board of Pardons and Parole. Your Honor, our legislature has set forth in these types of crimes where there's been a conviction the contemplation of various aspects of sentencing. One that can include a minimum sentence of 25 years followed by life on probation. I will note for the record, Your Honor, that prior to trial, the state of Georgia recommended to Mr. Gibson a sentence of 25 years on the rape. Now, our system of justice, Your Honor, frowns upon a trial penalty, a trial tax, sentencing people harsher because they elected to exercise their Sixth Amendment right to a trial, and handing and imposing a much harsher sentence goes against the grain of justice, because what it does is it has a tendency to snuff out the Sixth Amendment if a person is in fear of going to trial because of the trial penalty or the trial tax. So we're asking this court to exercise the good judgment that it has and has done throughout this trial and throughout its tenure on the bench to level a sentence that is fair, one that is just, and one that contemplates purposes of sentencing. The purpose of sentencing, Your Honor, addresses three things. It addresses retribution, it addresses deterrence, and it addresses rehabilitation. These victims that have come forward to this podium have expressed to this court what they want the court to do. And if you've been a victim of anything, there's various cycles of thoughts and emotions that go through being a victim. You could be a victim of a sex crime, you could be a victim of a theft, you could be a victim of a heinous lie, you could be a victim of anything, and one of the things is going to be anger. One of the things is going to be trauma. One of the things could be forgiveness. There could be a lot of emotions that come out of being a victim. You have perfect victims and you have imperfect victims, but nonetheless you have victims. You can agree or disagree with the trial verdict, but we are standing here today because we are now at this sentencing phase. And we're asking this court to, when it looks at sentencing, that it also considers not just the retribution part of the sentencing, not just that, the deterrence, that's a scenario where the sentence will hopefully deter others who are in society from engaging in certain conduct, because it says, hey, listen, this is what could happen. So it's supposed to be a deterrence. There are many articles, many statistics and things of that nature that say that harsh punishments don't really deter. Maybe it does. We don't really know. And then there's an aspect of sentencing that deals with rehabilitation. Things that send a message that says, hey, look, we believe that there can be rehabilitation in a sentence that's appropriate, that allows for punishment, deterrence, and for rehabilitation. Now, Mr. Gibson is 34 years old. He has 3 children. He has a 17-year-old, a 16-year-old, and a 9-year-old. The state enumerated that he has 24 cycles. However, he has no prior felony convictions on his record. None. The open case, a drug charge from 2021, and possession of cell phones inside the jail. And we understand that the state brought forth a Rico indictment, and they put in its indictment a period from 2013 down through 21, 22. They did say that there are countless unknown victims. That's what they said in their representation to the court. Countless unknown victims. We are here to deal with what was heard inside this trial and what is known about 1710-2 as it relates to my client's criminal history. They also indicated that there were, quote, attempts to contact Kiera Adams weeks before trial. That is the absolute first time today that I've ever heard that representation being made. No information concerning that was brought forth to this court pre-trial. None of that information was brought forth from that witness stand during the testimony of Kiera Adams. So that's a first for me to hear that information. Each of these young ladies that have come forward, and we know who did testify in this trial, and we know who did not testify in this trial. And we don't know why individuals did not testify in this trial. We were not provided that necessary information. The court was not, nor did we. Now, this court has heard from each of the pieces of evidence in this case. This court has heard from the witnesses in this case that did testify. This court heard cross-examinations of each of these particular witnesses. And the court heard the jury's verdict. Today, the state asks for 2 life sentences, and they ask for 60 years. They ask for consecutive time. They ask for a very stacked, harsh penalty, a trial tax, a trial penalty. Now, sometimes courts say, well, Mr. Matthews, you know, the court can say, well, I was in the trial. I heard from the victims and I heard the trial. And I know this court to be a fair court. And I know that a sentence that is proper is one that takes into consideration all of the things that are outlined in 1710-2 and the victim impact statements combined, and the fact that my client has no prior felony convictions and the purposes of sentencing. And the court will fashion a sentence. Now, if a person is granted a life sentence, Your Honor, the statute says that that person will become eligible for parole after serving in custody. That's what the statute says. And that's what I understand the law to be. I'm not asking this court to give Mr. Gibson a life sentence in this case. I'm not asking the court to give Mr. Gibson 2 life sentences. I'm asking for concurrent time. I'm asking this court, before the trial, the recommendation was 25 years. He did not accept that because Mr. Gibson wanted his day in court, and he got that. He received his day in court, Your Honor.
So, sippers, are we hearing this right? Are we hearing this right? The prosecution offered Cashout and family 25. They offered them deals, and they turned them down. From all of the evidence that we've heard, just testified to so far in to persuade sentencing by the judge was crazy, wild, terrifyingly, horrifically scary, like only things that nightmares are made of, and even worse, right? Like worse than your worst nightmare. And y'all turned down 25 years. Are y'all fucking crazy? I would have never done that. I would have never done what he did or they did. However, I'm not turning down no deal that would be a lot better considering all odds that are stacked against you in this Rico charge. Ex trafficking, Rico, everything else, like 50 charges. 25 years would have been a deal for Mr. Cashout, because let's continue to listen till we reach sentencing. Thank you guys all. Remember, when you come in and get your teacup filled up, to like and subscribe. Let's get it. We are reviewing the case that ended in sentencing, convictions, and now sentencing for Cashout and family.
He wanted the constitutional right to have his Sixth Amendment trial.
That's crazy.
And he received that. He received a fair trial from this honorable court. So we're asking that he receive a fair sentence as well. It doesn't stop at sentencing. The fairness continues from jury selection all the way through the end of the case. And we believe that that's what will happen this morning. We're asking this court, Your Honor. My client would like to address the court.
Okay.
So before I ask the court for what I'd like to ask the court to do, can I have my client address the court?
Absolutely.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
So, I mean, from the look on his face still, it's like almost lethargic to him, like he's under some type of sedation of some sort, to where it hasn't quite, it hit Mama Cash. Mama Cash has been hit with the I'm fucked bug, okay? So I don't think it's necessarily really hit Cashout in the same way. His cousin looks sunken. His cousin looks like he's feeling the ramifications of being convicted and now going to be sentenced. But just from the look of Cashout's face here, he doesn't really continue to show that he can feel what he's about to be sentenced to. Let's listen as he now speaks.
Good morning today, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I want to start out by thanking you for giving us a fair trial. I want to thank the jurors for the amount of time that they put in to judge this trial. This time being on this trial, I was able to see how the jurors are put in a tough position to, sit there and judge someone's life, and, it's a hard decision, and I felt like they made the wrong judgment. I've done things in my life. I'm not perfect. But the things I've been accused of, I know that I haven't done those things. I know it's typical for a person to come up here and, show remorse to, crimes that they have done, but I can only show remorse to the people that I know that was in this trial.
Hello, ABK_918. Welcome to the Sippers. We are the Sippers show.
Not remorse on behalf of like I did anything to them, because if you know me and people who really know me know that I wouldn't force anybody to do anything.
Sippers. Thank you for subscribing.
I met women, I dated women who were doing escort or whatever, however people want to look at it from a moral standpoint, but who was doing these things as a grown woman. I've only dealt with grown women. Nothing was forced, nothing was coerced or anything of that nature. If you notice, before this trial, no woman can say anything about me before this trial. If you notice, before this indictment, no woman can say anything about me before this indictment. I get the situations that people are put in when they're faced with a certain type of crime or a certain type of time, and they're bullied into this situation to put the blame on someone, or to put the blame on Cashout, or to put the blame on someone who's at the top. That's why I didn't really fault them for their decision. I didn't fault Deanna Sanders for making her decision during a proffer. She just had a child. Mind you, she was just on video call with me while being incarcerated. I don't fault Kiera Adams for doing the things she did with her proffer, because mind you, she was facing a certain amount of time handling her probation in different cases that she's on. I don't fault people for making accusations, because I'm a man that typically let women leave on their own behalf. Never held them in prison or held them in slavery or said you can't leave me or you can't do this. Every woman you seen come on this stand showed you that they left and came back willingly on their own. What I mean by that, they left on their own and they came back willingly on their own. During this trial, I was able to see, how valuable life is and how valuable the people that you hang around, or the people that you even date, or the people that you even know, how valuable it is to judge their character. Sometimes I let people stay around who I knew was going to affect a situation that I had going on. So I don't, and for the people who came to this trial that I never met a day in my life, never had any contact with them, never had a text message with them, never had an interaction with them, don't even know where most of these stories came from, it's baffling. never forced a woman to commit a sexual act. Never. I've been traveling all around the world from here to Dubai, and you would never hear a woman say that I forced them to do anything sexual or commit a rape with anybody. I don't hang around people that do things of that nature.
Well, we did just hear a few women allegate to that very thing, Mr. Cashout, sir. So we actually have heard of accounts of these things occurring, and your mother also bearing witness and aiding and abetting to these such crimes. So, but we have heard you say, or heard these women say, that's exactly what you're.
I feel like, and somebody asked me this the other day. It was like, every time I see your head high and you always smiling, because when you have that confidence, it takes me back to the Bible. When you have that confidence and you know you can be falsely accused of things. Jesus was falsely accused. A lot of the prophets were falsely accused. You don't have that emotion like you've done something. You know, so if you see me with my head high, or if you see me smiling, it's because I know at the end of the day, through Jesus Christ, the Most High will always give you the actual judgment. So I really thank you for providing us a fair trial, just me getting to know you during trial. I was like, you know, she's just a judge. But when you sit 12 people in that panel and you know, have them, you know, judge our lives and, you know, put them in a position to judge our lives. You know, it takes you back to, once again, the Bible, when people had to judge these prophets' lives. And I say, if you know me, you actually know me. There's plenty of people that know me in this world. There's plenty of people that know me in this jail. There's plenty of people that know me where I'm from. Like I said, once again, I'm not perfect. I come from certain areas. I come from, you know, certain environments. I come from doing things in my past life before the music. But I'm here to tell you that if you sat in this trial and you paid attention to this trial, before these dates, no woman could ever say, I done those things to them. Before these dates, you can go on my Instagram and see these women enjoying themselves, having their own things, living their own life. Before these dates, I can say you had these women that never had anything to say about me before this indictment, before the Rico. You had these women actually talking to me while I was incarcerated. I've been incarcerated for 4 years, and these women are interacting with me. These women who took the stand up and supposedly scared of me, or monsters, or I'm a monster, or took these proffers. This wasn't the case before they was indicted. So from my perspective, I feel like some people can get bullied into a situation that they really don't really want to do. And I'm sitting here just holding my head high and just, you know, feeling that one day the truth will come out. One day the truth will come out on my situation. One day the truth will come out on this rape allegation, that these things never happened. And when you see a person get up on that stand and put their hand on the Bible and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, that means you have to be perfect, like you're Jesus. You have to be perfect on that stand. You can't show a flaw. And that's a tough one. It's a tough one for me, because I had flaws in my life. So you have to tell the complete truth on that stand. And I got up there and see people put their hand on that Bible and not tell the complete truth. And that's baffling. But at the end of the day, I put my trust in the Most High. I put my trust in the universe to bring out the truth, to bring out the truth of these people who made these allegations. To me, it's like you have no heart. You have no heart. And I know people want me to
Okay. He just victim shamed the accusers, right? That's not helping him in the sentencing at all. The judge is a woman. She's a black woman. These are black women. These are minority women that he was doing these situations to, right? He victim shamed him. He said, you have no heart to get up on the stand and lie on me and say that I did these things to you. That is the very worst thing that Cashout could have said during his sentencing plea to the judge, to prayerfully give his ass maybe a sign of breath outside of prison. Okay? Yeah.
stay in line or walk a toe, but when you speaking something truthfully and you speaking from the heart and you know that this is not your character, something must be said. And I just wanted to address the court and give my perspective on the things that I felt during this trial and the judgment that I felt that the jurors gave us was not the correct judgment. And it will show. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Matthews.
All right, we just heard Cashout plea his say to the judge for a hopeful, lenient minimum time. Let's see what the judge say she. Okay. Thank you all for sipping tea with Tanisha Talks Tea this morning. We are tuning into the live broadcast of Cashout and Family, Mama Cash and cousin Tyrone. I'm not sure exactly. I forget his name. But they're all being sentenced today. They all got indicted. They all got convicted. So let's see what the judge now say. We've heard the prosecutor. We heard the DA. Okay. We've heard Cashout speak. We've heard the accusers speak to the judge to prayerfully give him the longest time that one could receive. We have heard them talk about the worst of the worst crimes being committed amongst them, against them. We've even heard a lady testify to where Mama Cash was alleged to have tried to prevent one of the girls' family, mama and daddy and them, from coming to get her when they found her because of her tracking devices. Mama Cash was like in a car trying to ride down on them in Atlanta, trying to prevent them from escaping with their child. So let's see what the judge say.
Your Honor, thank you for
Remember to like and subscribe.
allowing Mr. Gibson to speak to this honorable court. So, Your Honor, I'm asking this court to
I'll take like a bacon,
measure
some bacon with
what
cheese
was
and bread with some mayonnaise.
offered before trial and what the court believes is fair after this trial, and that there not be a trial penalty imposed. I'm asking the court to consider a 30-year sentence with all of the charges run concurrent, with the exception of the firearm charge that has to be, under our statute, a consecutive imposition.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Matthews.
Thank you.
All right.
If you guys can zoom in close and see right here, where Cashout's just nonchalantly, carelessly rocking back and forth in his chair. He's showing no like apparent evidence, in his appearance that he is scared in any way to be facing these type of sentencing charges. He got convicted of like 50 fucking charges, and he's just nonchalantly, carelessly walking around, or not walking around, excuse me, rocking back and forth. Like he said, I know you see me smiling, and it's only because I know God got me. It's just wicked. Like, it is wicked, wicked business. Michael D. Jameson says, Cash Out is now ass out. Laugh out loud. TJ Will says, bruh. Thank you for commenting. Okay, let's continue to listen in on the verdict.
She's had not a single negative incident during her stay at all. Not a single write-up, not a run-in, not an argument, nothing at all. In fact, there's a supervising officer that is in the women's location who speaks very highly of her and her involvement while in custody.
Correction, it's 1 in 37.
I'm sorry, is it 37?
Yes.
Okay, 1 in 37, my apologies.
Go ahead.
Her last, as the state shared with you, her criminal history, the only other felony to speak of related to Ms. Smith is some 32 years ago. And it's in regards to possession of marijuana charge.
So now we're listening to the defense for Mama Cash. We got some comments in on the post we made about this particular sentencing today in Rico following Cash Out, Mama Cash, and Cousin Cash getting sentenced today. So Michael Isa says he thought he was Diddy. And Pierre Robinson says, this is completely different now. This is a case for Rico, not Diddy's. These people were actually trafficking unwilling participants. And then Hector says, I know. Darian Burke says, bruh, make Diddy look like a saint. Devon Grail says, just shows Diddy got favoritism. Diddy didn't get a tenth of his time for similar stuff. Greg Davenport says, Diddy wasn't found guilty. Devon says, yes, he was. He was found guilty of 2 lesser charges and is in jail as we speak, awaiting sentencing. If he wasn't found guilty by law, they would have had to release him the same day after the verdict. So stop it. Laugh out loud. Devon comes back and says, you said similar charges. He wasn't found guilty of anything close to that, to something that carries a life sentencing. So thank you, everybody, for commenting on our post about the Cash family Rico sentencing. Let's finish listening.
While she's been in custody, she's been positively engaged and working on rehabilitation. One of the things that Mr. Matthews mentioned that is expected to come out of sentencing and what the expectation is. She's already been working on her rehabilitation since she's been in custody. She has been a pod worker, which is the equivalent of a trustee. So her requirements there is that she cleans the pod, that she passes out food, that she mops floors, that she sweeps floors, that she makes sure that clothes get washed. And while that sounds to some, while it might be, even demeaning to some, it's actually a privilege that's bestowed upon them while they're in custody, that they're able to be trusted to do these things. And she's been trusted to do these things while she's been in custody since 2022. She has participated in the New Beginnings program, is still participating in the New Beginnings program, working towards the certificate that they receive at the end of that. Through that, they participate in anger management, parenting classes, AA classes, cosmetology, all these things, regardless of whether or not these are areas that pertain to their particular arrest or pertain to something that they have personally asked for or needed. And she's walked through all of them. She's participated in everything.
I mean, all of that is fabulous. Unfortunately, under the, guise of what she went in for, it's a far cry of how she was living on the street. On the street, she was a guerrilla pimp controller of her son, his cousin, her nephew, and the tormented women that they kidnapped and ex trafficked off of the streets into this criminal situation that got them very fucked up, and the Cash family now as well. Okay, that's wonderful that she went into jail and showed she could be a good person, but unfortunately, she's in jail, and the reason why is because she really was far from a good woman on the street. Mama Cash was a hot ass mess. Y'all should see some of the things that Mama Cash was doing. She was getting her body done, bitch. She was out here looking like an Instagram hoe. She was, on all the scenes being real mean, bitch. Okay, putting a gorilla pimp hand down on people in real time, in real life, on these streets, terrorizing the streets of Atlanta, and I'm assuming anywhere else she was at. Okay, so that was the life that Mama Cash was living. She was living very, financially endowed, off of the torment, pain, and slain hurt of other women. Okay, so I mean, with nice homes, cars, boats, trucks, Hellcats, and all of this shit, four-wheelers, bicycles, motorcycles, whatever have you. Mama Cash had it. Okay, and she was out there looking real good doing it, but it was under the pain of others that she inflicted upon them with her son and her nephew. Period.
Since she's been in custody, she has been conducting Bible study for the past, I want to say, 2.5 years. And in that, she has received a certificate, and it's for the faith worth dying for, having achieved a grade of 100%. She's also participated in lessons on assurance and received a certificate for that through the Set Free Prison Ministries Rehabilitation by Regeneration program that's at the jail for her. During the time that she's been in custody, she's unfortunately lost her father. During this trial, you learned that while at the home in Johns Creek, her father lived with her. She had family that lived in the home with her, and she was a primary caregiver. Since she's been in custody, she's lost him. Her mother is 77 and is in Alabama. Her brother is just 50. And during the time that her father was severely declining, he went into a coma. He's recently come out of the coma. He requires speech therapy. He requires, I believe, occupational therapy and physical therapy, and is receiving dialysis. So naturally, her mother at 77, her brother at 50 with all these now special needs. These are folks that she would like to get back to, folks that she would like to.
I had my mute on. So, like I was saying, Mama Cash was a sinister person, right? Yes, unfortunately, we go through lives with us when our elders, people in our family, people we know, we love that are close to us, goes through life circumstances, health wise, mental health wise, financially, relationship, in every area of life that lives we get hit with it, right? Mama Cash may have had been somewhere caring about some element of her family. I'm not denying that she may have took care of some of them that are older and elder, but she did it off the backs of the pain, hurt, stress, and strain of others. Okay. She was a syndicated, sentencing, menacing madam with the gorilla pimp hand with her son and her nephew. That's what that was. That's what they got convicted of. Okay. It's unfortunate that now her family will not, more than likely have her for the remaining amount of her life, depending on how long she gets sentenced. Because of her choices on the outside to choose the level of criminal activity that she did to put her in a federal Rico charge case, um, and get, swallowed up in the belly of the beast. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that she has an ailing, sick, mother and father, as we all do as we age. Okay. Our parents become elder, and they take to the form of descending back into the earth. Okay, that is what life likes. So with that being said, she knew that Mama Cash is not a fool. She lived the high life off of the pain of other women, off of the muscling and the construction of her kids, her nephew, to orchestrate this shit. Okay, feel bad for her. I feel, not her, sorry, feel bad for her family. Don't feel bad for her though. Do not feel bad for her, because if she cared about being the care provider and overseeing these things in their lives, she would not be sitting in a federal court case getting convicted, sentencing of a RICO.
Be able to caregive for like she did for her father while he was ill before she went into custody. We attempted,
Please drop down in the chat and let me know if you guys feel bad for Mama Cash or her family that will need her, okay, while she's away serving her time.
Ms. Smith never wanted to be in trial. Ms. Smith never wanted to have a trial. And so there were several conversations and meetings that the state and I had, and the bottom line is that we were just far too far apart on being able to reach a negotiation that we could present to this court. So she ended up in trial, but definitely not a choice of hers. I've heard the recommendation from the state, which ultimately is the max on the two charges and to run them consecutively. On behalf of Ms. Smith, I would ask for something different, but I do want to allow Ms. Smith an opportunity to speak on her own behalf if Your Honor would like to hear from her. You can come over here.
All right, we are going to now listen to the plea and cry of Mama Cash. As I said, from her sitting there now, it's a far cry of how she looked when I last saw her at one of her last court dates before sentencing. Okay, last court date that I saw her in, she was kind of smirking, laughing, nonchalantly eating, smirking things off, looking around the courtroom like, well, yeah, you'll never catch me, coppers. You know what I'm saying? Type of mood. Let's listen in now how she speaks now about where she sits now, being sentenced now for RICO right now. Oh, y'all, we ain't even picking up our feet. We're shuffling, we're scuffling. We're broken, we're sunken, just as you should be, considering the level of danger, of the level of fear, the level of hurt, pain that you put others in, right? You should be. You should be crawling to the podium, to be for real. Tough.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Everybody just sounds so, so sunken. Everybody just, oh, we in the dark place. And they're in jail. They're in Fulton County Jail, getting sentenced today in Fulton County Courthouse, going to prison some goddamn. We're probably in the feds.
I'd like to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Lord. We back to slave, we back to massa. We back to massa. Not Mama Cass that was riding out on that ass. Okay, riding down on your ass if you tried to escape their ex-trafficking organization shit they had going on. Okay. Mama Cash and them could open a small business with the, things that Cash Out had going on in his little rap career, his moment he had, opened up a business. You see what I'm saying? Did anything other than what they did. What they did was horrific. Okay? She's so
I'm
pissed
sorry.
off.
I'd like to say thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. Not a day ever since I turned myself in. I was always prayerful for the victims. I take accountability. I pray for them continuously.
I'm a believer, to be honest with you.
I pray for the district attorney's office. I pray for you, Judge, because that's what God requires me to do.
Y'all just keep going,
And
y'all
that's
like
what I truly feel in my heart, because I love God so much, and I'm so full of joy.
we can't even hear her. She talking so goddamn slow.
That Friday, when the verdict came in, I wasn't angry at all. Not at all. I almost thought something was wrong with me. So that Saturday, well, the night before, let me back up. I talked to God like I always do. And he said, I must give my testimony to the young ladies at New Beginnings. And I said, Father God, I don't want to put my business out there. That's my business. But Father God said, your business is my business, and my agenda is your agenda. He said for me, which I always do, I respect authority. And Sergeant Ball was on the shift in my pod. So I had to speak to her. I was kind of afraid to speak to her. But Father God reminded me, he said, I'm by your side, do not fear. So I pressed the button and I asked, could I speak to her? Because I
She
knew
a snake and a false
that
prophet.
in order to get my testimony, there's authority that I must talk to. So I went out and she asked me what was going on. And I said, Sergeant Paul, I'm asking.
Mama Cash is a snake and a false prophet. She's a person that you will, you know, believe potentially, as we've seen with the women that were in Cash Out's life. You know, to want to bring them into their fold. Oh, we, riding around with that Nina. We got this and that. We got contacts. We got connections. We got things and things and things. And pull you into a dark room situation and then do you a nasty, dirty work one. Those are these people. Okay? Believe that. They lured people out of their lives, out of their situations in life that were better than anything that they ever intended for them. And they bit them like a snake does. She's a false prophet. She's a snake.
Like during devotion, will I be
That's
able to give my
why
test?
we say everybody should not be given the, path to be put on the road to be a celebrity. Everybody's not built for that. Cash Out should have been somebody's trash man or whatever, however have you. His mama should have been I don't know about a caretaker. I don't know about a nurse because they seem evil. Okay, they appear to be evil from what we heard. That's exactly what they are. Okay, maybe someone working in somebody's factory. I don't fucking know, but not the mother of a celebrity, because all she did was take that and will that into something bad. Yeah.
Testimony, because that's what God has said for me to do. It wasn't a choice. God doesn't give you that. He gives commandments. And I never want to be disobedient to God. She said, Miss Smith, she said, you cannot be disobedient to God. So if you give your testimony and it just saves one person, just one person, you've done what God asked you to do. So I gave my testimony to about 35 women in the New Beginnings pod with me. God was speaking through me. I give him all the praise and glory. It's
God
not
was
me
speaking
at
to her.
all.
But it's funny how God, she didn't hear God speaking to her in any moment when she was doing other women, the dirtball way she did them. Other women suffered at the hands of her. Okay, where was any of this when you knew your son and your nephew was out here doing this? Instead of you being like, oh, no. Let me get in here and break this up. At least do my best to try to get them to stop it. You encouraged it. You empowered it. You gave it wings. You wrong. You are a wrong woman. And whatever you get, you deserve. You deserve it.
My attorney, she's been great. She's been great. And she asked me
Wrong.
when she came Sunday to speak to me what I would like her to say. And she has done that. And I just said, give me an opportunity.
Now she in the courtroom. Look at the lady doing the court reporting. I'm sorry, y'all don't eat the bacon and cheese mayonnaise sandwich. Look at the lady doing the court reporting. She is laughing. She is laughing. The lady sitting directly down in front of the judge is laughing at her. Because now Mama Cashout is saying, I'm so sorry, my son shouldn't have done those things. How you gonna throw him under the bus? Doing sentencing. When you was driving the bus, this little ex-trafficking vehicle y'all was using to try to kidnap girls, and when girls were getting rescued by their family, trying to run them down, trying to get them back and do whatever you was gonna do to their mom and them. Girl, look at the court reporter, y'all. She's laughing at Mama Cash as she said that. Laughing.
Just to speak to the judge, just a little bit.
Now you wish Cash Out would have done those things.
I'm so sorry for the victims. And I pray for them
I hope
and
you
will
as tough as you
continue to
really
pray.
think you are. You really
Because God says, if you love me, you love others. And when I pray wholeheartedly. I didn't think I could do it in the beginning. I said, God, I don't know if I can do this. But he knew exactly what he wanted me to do. He chose me to do this. I couldn't even stop.
They're not gonna like Mama Cash. Why? Because she's a celebrity's mama. Off the rip alone, not everybody gonna like her. She gonna have haters and enemies.
Teaching the word if I wanted to. That's not even an option with me. Whatever you wish it to be, I'm okay with that. Because I will continue to spread the good news wherever I go. Because that's the path that God put me on. He's been with me for a long time. I just didn't take notice to it. I love what I do. I love spreading the good news.
I love
showing love to.
I love Stop Hope. God, those eyes do. No, you are not up there playing Miss Poe Mouth. You were eating off of the luxurious lifestyle from ripping and ruining other women's lives, lady. Now you in their pole. Stand on business like you was standing on the backs of them girls you was out there trafficking. That's what we want to see. Stand tall and bold as shit as you was in these streets gorilla pimping on young, underprivileged, vulnerable, desperate, impressionable women. That's the mama cash we want to see go down, goddamn, with a blaze of goddamn glory. Don't be up there po mouth. You ain't po mouth out here. Don't be po mouth in jail. Y'all always go out like some pussy punk assholes, but on these streets, y'all was out here terrorizing and killing and maiming and all of that shit. You hoes you're sad, and y'all be the very ones that be in prison getting your asses whooped.
Oh, and I mean it wholeheartedly. I'm not angry
Now we
at
po mouth.
all. And I thank you for this opportunity. Miss Winfrey, I thank you. I thank everyone.
Your Honor, I'm going to be asking that you sentence her to a period of 20 years to serve 5 with the balance on probation. The state has listed their conditions. I have no objection to the conditions that they have listed, so I ask that those conditions be the conditions that this court sentence her to. And that she be allowed to serve the balance of her 20 years on probation outside of that 5 years.
All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
That means she would get time served. She'd do like a couple of years and get the fuck out. Let's see.
Mr. Green.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
I will be brief because Mr. Matthews has said a lot of what I was going to say.
Okay, now we're going to listen to the defense for the cousin, who was also convicted of the same exact things as Cashout. However, I hear tell that nothing was ever really proven of him. So maybe he got convicted over just the affiliation of being with Cashout when such acts took place and didn't stop it. I don't know.
Taylor, I would just like to add, Mr. Taylor's been incarcerated longer than everyone else. He's been in jail since this arrest for this case back in 2019. Mr. Taylor, out of this entire trial, played the smallest role, if any, in regards to this quote-unquote enterprise. And just remember that literally majority of the people that took the stand didn't even know who Mr. Taylor was. Or if they had seen him, they had seen him once, maybe somewhere over the years.
Whoa, Marcos! When pizza's this good, there won't be leftovers. Unless you order extras for leftovers.
As I have said throughout this trial and at the beginning, Mr. Taylor isn't similarly situated to literally every other co-defendant that's on this case. We've all been through these hearings, we've all been through the trial. I just wanted to put that out there on the record because Mr. Taylor wanted to make sure that it was known he's played the smallest role in this case, yet he's already been punished more than every other person on the indictment. Before we talk about, well, as the state said, Mr. Taylor is an A recidivist, so there's not really much I can do when it comes to sentencing with the court. However, Mr. Taylor does want to address the court before we move forward.
All right.
Now we're going to hear Mr. Taylor address the judge as well for his plea to please be set free under any light of day under which his eyeballs may set, upon the freedom, okay? Let's listen.
right.
Hey, how you doing, Your Honor?
Good morning.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor.
Speak up a little loud for me, sir.
My name is Tyrone Orlando Taylor. I know my life ain't been perfect. I made a lot of mistakes in life. I know my background ugly, but not violent, like being caught with guns and robbery and murders and stuff. I know that I made a lot of mistakes by making the wrong decisions. And I learned since 2019, I've been incarcerated, to make the right decision. I learned a lot of patience. And the victims who accusing me of something that they said I did, that I didn't do, and it hurt me. Since I've been locked up, my family, I've been having folks dying on me. My son growing up, my daughter growing up. And I've been doing the best I can to get out this situation. And for the victim, Jordan Adam, I asked that she forgive me if she felt like I did any harm to her. I don't harm no one. I help people. I always have jobs that I work. I was a chef. I put pipes in the ground. I helped do create Centennial Park.
And all the judges thinking, and you're gonna help on that chain gang.
The Kroger off Ponce Leon. I was working. I was doing a lot of positive things, but I had my foot sometimes in the wrong mud. So since I've been doing time, I learned to stay positive.
Horrible.
Don't do nothing negative. Just stay positive and stay prayed up. I talk to my mama every day. That's all who I call my mama. Every day since I was locked up. And I talk to my son. I tell him, make the right decision. I talk to him like he's a brother. Make the right decision. And think about the consequences on the bad and the good. And I know that people judge me on my look, 'cause I got a strong face. I'm a man. I look like that. I can't help how I look. I'm not no violent person, no herder. I don't hurt nobody. And any woman who got up down the stand and said I hurted them, they can't show no proof, no picture, no report that I really physically hurted them. I got a mother, I got sisters, I got nieces, I got aunties. I love women. I ain't ever committed no crime that they're accusing me that I committed. You can look at my record. In the past, I was a user. I used to use drugs, and in 2017, I was in a drug program called Stan Inc. Fulton County put me in there. And when I was in there, when I completed the program, I was with my friend Felicia. I was in a relationship with her. In 2017, 18, and 19, I got caught up with this for something that I didn't do. And I don't know how to say it, but I know that if I actually can't get another chance to prove that I'm a righteous person, I'm not violent, I'm not no threat, I'm not none of that what they saying I am. I promise you I'm not. That's all I got to say, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. D.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, thank you for giving him the opportunity to speak.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna take some time with this. Should be back 10 minutes. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We're gonna speed it up as the court goes on a break.
10 minutes-ish.
10 minutes, okay? Ish. She said I might be back in full. If you niggas fuck on down the road. They are on a break. Okay. What are your thoughts about the sentencing that we are currently listening to? Okay. We are watching Cash Out, Mama Cash, and Cousin Cash, all convicted now of over 50 something charges. I think the mama maybe got 2, but the boys got like 50, y'all. Okay, they got like 50 charges. Okay, it's not looking good. The clock is on tick-tock for them. They have trafficking, all types of hellacious, salacious Rico charges. Okay, we're gonna speed it up and get these niggas out the way as well. But let me know what you guys think. Court's adjourned. There's Cash Out, walking back to his chair. Mama Cash falling over into her chair. And Cousin Cash is coming out behind them.
Right. Miss Hannah, you ready? Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, during the course of this trial, the court heard and viewed evidence demonstrating the very worst of human behavior toward other human beings. The jury verdict in this case reflects that the state met its burden in proving beyond a reasonable doubt that the diabolical conduct of the defendants occurred. The sentencing to be meted out by this court will be responsive to that. Mr. John Michael Hakeem Gibson, would you please stand?
So Cash Out is first.
Okay. On count 1, violation of the Georgia RICO Act, 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with
20 years, first count, consecutive, okay? 20 years so far.
count 10. On count 10, rape. Life in confinement.
Life! Did that judge say life?
12,
Hold on.
aggravated sodomy.
Ooh, did the judge say life, y'all? Oh, it's over. It's over.
Serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 10. On count 10, rape. Life in confinement.
Life! She gave him life for 8, y'all.
Count 12.
Gave him life. Yes,
aggravated
she did.
sodomy. Life in confinement.
Double life.
Concurrent.
Did that just say double life? She gave him double life for 8 and sodomy. Sodomy is the penetration of someone's butthole. Okay, that's what sodomy is. Oh my God.
With count 10.
Ooh.
Count 22. Trafficking a person for sexual servitude. 20 years to serve in confinement to run.
So far, he got 240 years. All of it to run consecutive. So even when Cash Out dies and is reincarnated, he has to come back and do time. The rest of his time.
Consecutive.
You got to serve 2 lives and 40 years so far.
With count 1. Count 23. Trafficking a person for sexual servitude. 20 years to serve in
260
to
years.
run consecutive with count 22. Count 24 on the lesser included offense of battery. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent.
261.
Count 25. possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. 5 years to serve in confinement.
266.
To run consecutive with count 23. Count 26, pimping. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent.
267.
Count 27, pandering. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent.
268.
Count 28, keeping a place of prostitution. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 29, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 10. Count 30, simple
Nigga,
battery.
you up 270 years so damn far. I done fell out.
Merges into count 24, battery. Count 45, possession of prohibited items by an inmate. Five years to serve in confinement to run consecutive.
275 years so far. It's been over at life.
With count 25.
Come on.
Conditions of this sentence. No
Cashout got 275 years. Come on, computer, you was doing good.
contact with any of the victims named in the indictment to
Sorry, sippers. Gotta refresh.
count 11. To run concurrent with count 10. Count 27, pandering. 12 months to.
Come on, my computer is doing good. Cash out, 275. Cash all the way out. Depleted, done. It's over for Mr. Cash Out. God damn it, come on. So sorry for these interruptions, guys. We're closing out with the verdict, the sentencing. Let me keep refreshing. Cashout got 275 years.
Count 11, aggravated sodomy. Life in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. (2171) Peachtree. You are to stay away from the St. George's Common address.
Okay, he cannot go around anywhere where any of these instances occur. Thank you guys for taking in here. And he must stay away from anywhere the victims are. However, Cashout's never seeing the light of day. He's never getting out of prison.
All right, you may be seated. All right, Ms. Smith and counsel, please stand.
It's Mama Cash's turn. Will her pleas of throwing herself upon the mercy of the court work in any way for her sentencing? Let's see, sippers. What said the judge?
As to count 1, violation of the
I'm so sick of my computer.
Georgia Rico Act, 20 years to serve in confinement. Count 37, traffic.
Mama Cash up 20.
A person for sexual servitude, 10 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive.
30.
Count 1. You're to have no contact with any of the victims, including Diamond Irvin.
Mama Cash got 30 years.
Named in this indictment or their families. You are to register as a sex offender. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road.
Mama Cash has to register as a ex-offender, y'all.
2171
Peachtree. Life is over. Over.
The address at the St. George's Commons, 9340. And the FIB, Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor.
over for Mama Cash. 30 years in the pokey following a registration of an ex-offender.
All right, Mr. Taylor.
Bro, this nigga's on my fucking nerves. Why am I having a pad? It's like not working. I'm tired of this thing. So sorry, guys. I'm testing my Wi-Fi extender. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully their broadcast will come in better. Mama Cash was just sentenced to 30 years to run 20 plus 10 to run consecutive. Okay? And she has to register as an ex-offender. Very sad.
Count one.
Now we are listening to the cousin,
20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 9. Count 9 rape. Life in confinement.
He got life.
Count 11.
He got life for 8.
Aggravated sodomy. Life in confinement to run concurrent with count 9. Count 13, trafficking a person for sexual servitude. 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 1. Count 15, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. 20 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 13.
He up 160 years.
Count 16, false imprisonment. 10 years to serve in confinement to run consecutive with count 15.
170?
Count 17, pandering by compulsion. 10 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9.
180.
Count 18, possession of cocaine. 3 years to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9.
183 years.
Count 19, tampering with evidence. 12 months to serve in confinement to run concurrent with count 9.
184.
Count 20, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer by use of threats or violence. 10 years to serve.
194.
To run concurrent with count 9 and a suspended fine of $300. You are to have no contact with any of the victims named in the indictment, nor are you to have any contact with Diamond Irvin or any of their families. You are to stay away from the Fulton Industrial Boulevard corridor. You are to stay away from 737 Alfred Road in Atlanta. You are to stay away from the Mezzo address at 2171 Peachtree Road and the address at the St. George Commons, 9340. You register as a sex offender. And that is the sentence of this court. You may be seated. Mr. Gibson, Miss Smith,
Everybody got
and Mr.
time
Taylor, I have
out
to
the
give you some
ass.
post-conviction rights that you have, all right? You may remain seated while I give you these rights, okay? You need to know that you have the right to seek post-judgment relief from your convictions, the crimes, by either making a motion for a new trial in this court and or filing an appeal to a higher appellate court. If you wish to file a motion for a new trial or an appeal, then you will need to file the said motion or notice of appeal with the clerk of the Superior Court of this county within 30 days of the judgment and the jury verdict, the final disposition. You may wish to more fully discuss this with your lawyers. If a motion for new trial is made and the court denies it, you will have 30 days from the filing of the order of denial in which to file with the clerk of this court your notice of appeal. You have a right to have a lawyer represent you on the motion for new trial and the first level of direct appellate review. And if you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, the court will provide you a lawyer and a transcript of your trial at no cost. With respect to felony convictions, you usually have a period of 4 years from the date that your sentence in this court becomes final to file what is known as a habeas corpus petition. On any misdemeanors, you have a period of 1 year from the date your sentence in this court becomes final to file a habeas corpus petition. All right? And with that, they may be taken back.
He's still laughing. Cashout is still laughing. He's going to do double life plus 70 some years. Where my notebook at? Double life plus 75. Most black men don't even live to be 75. Cashout will die in prison. So will his cousin. And his mother may well die in prison as well if she doesn't get early paroled on her 20 plus 10 to serve consecutively. Okay. So let's do a little research. If you are sentenced to 275 years in prison, what are your chances of being released? If you are sentenced to 275 years in prison, what are your chances of ever being released? With a 275-year prison sentence, the chances of ever being released depend on the specific jurisdiction and whether the sentence includes parole eligibility. If the sentence is life without parole, then the person will likely die in prison. If it's a life sentence with the possibility of parole, then release is possible after serving a minimum amount of time, though there is no guarantee of release. Okay. I didn't hear whether or not she said without parole. I didn't hear that. Okay. So let's see from Mama Cashout. If you receive 20 years plus 10 years to run consecutively, how much time are you likely to do? If you receive a 20-year sentence and a consecutive 10-year sentence, you will likely serve a total of 30 years in prison, as consecutive sentences are served one after the other. The total sentence duration is the sum of all consecutive sentences. When sentences are consecutive, they are served sequentially. This means the second sentence, 10 years, does not begin until the first 20 years is completed. So Mama Cash, probably in her late 40s, okay, will have to do 20 years flat period before she can even entertain doing her 10 years. Okay. Now she might get parole, good time, or other early release mechanisms, but the consecutive nature of the sentences means that those mechanisms would only apply after the initial 20 years is served. Okay, so Mama Cash will more than likely be in her late 60s, okay, when she can ever entertain the idea of some type of parole first. Okay, and we ain't even finna give a fuck about what Cashout and them got going on. That judge said double life for his ass and them, and that's just what that did. Okay. Atlanta rapper Cashout, whose name is John Michael Hakeem Gibson, is being sentenced. He was found guilty of violating Georgia's Rico Act, ape, and other charges. He was convicted and sentenced along beside his mother, Mama Cash, and his cousin Tyrone, okay, Taylor, okay. So, what do you guys think? That's crazy, right? This is crazy. Yeah, they are done. Mama Cash will be a very old woman before she can even entertain the idea, okay, of being released. There will be no more riding around with Neeners and terrorizing innocent people, making them victims of their wrath of destruction for their own profitable gain. Let me know what you guys think. Please remember to like and subscribe. Follow me on all social media platforms. We are going to conclude our Tea Talk time on Cashout and family being convicted and sentenced to double life. In Cashout's case, he did receive double life. His mother received 20 years to run consecutive with 10 years. So she will do a flat out 20 years at her age. She'll be 69 before she even is eligible to even go into doing her 10 years and summoning the parole board. Okay. And then also, as well as their cousin Tyrone, he got life too, plus 75 years. Thank you for sipping tea with Tanisha Talks Teas. Let this be a lesson to us all. Life is only one make of it. We only have one try at our lives. We have choices. We're given choices to make decisions. You know, none of us are perfect. We all make bad choices. We all make bad decisions in life. But if there are choices, like I tell my children, that you make that you can never come back from, then that's done. Whatever chance of a choice you may have had prior to making the worst bad decision of your life is completely taken away from you, whether that's by incarceration or an untimely early death. Okay, so let's all continue to please be very mindful of who we are, where we are, and what we're doing with our assholes, so that assholes cannot take us and put us in places to, make our lives a living hell. Okay. Remember, sippers, stay sipping, okay? Please sip the best tea, and you're going to get that always with Tanisha Talks to Teas. All right, show everybody of all your favorite content creators much love by liking, following, sharing our stuff, and subscribing and following us. I'm on all streaming platforms, okay? I'm on Facebook, Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Twitter. Follow me any damn where you want to follow me at, okay? And we also got merch coming soon. We got t-shirts coming soon. We got hats coming soon. So follow me for merch, okay? You're going to want to sip your tea and talk tea with the best, the one that does it the best with the best of the best, Tanisha Talks Teas. Have a great rest of your day. Bye, sippers. Please stay safe and keep up your notifications so when I go live, you can go live right along with me and sip some hot tea. Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay sipping.